start now. You just have 6 months of your preparation. So I would say like you have to have a plan or a timetable that you need to follow, because now you have very short time, a very compact schedule that you have to keep practicing your mocks, and you have your daily targets and the syllabus that you have to complete. So first, primarily focus on completing your syllabus as much as fast, as soon as possible, especially quants, because RC, like I mentioned, is about reading and improving it, and LR is about trying out the various logic. So once you cover the basics of LR, that can be done in 1 or 2 days and just start practicing for it. But for quants, since there are many chapters, you'll have to cover each topic properly once, or else you won't be able to attempt the CAT questions. So for that, you actually need to finish like prepare a strategy for yourself. And like for the first 2 months now, it's June. By September, you have to find a plan so that you will be able to complete all your syllabus at least once. And then uh, you have to keep giving your mocks even now. But by September, once your portion is over, then your mocks will be more effective, because you'll understand more and more better how or what is your weaknesses and what are your strengths. Till September, don't mind getting low marks in your mocks, but keep on giving your mocks to understand your strategies. Like, were you able to complete all the RCs and VA questions in those 40 minutes? Or were you able to identify what were the ECLR questions? Like that, for to understand that and to keep improving, write or give your mocks all through this time. But from by September, your main focus must be to complete your portions. And for quants, another important thing is that you might be knowing a long method of understanding or finding an answer. But since CAT is also a time-based exam, you might have to find easier methods of finding that. And for that, you have to understand for each question, once you solve it, your own method. Try to understand what other methods could be used to solve that question more easily. So for that, you keep, like I mentioned before, you need to maintain a formula book where you will be having all your formulas. Based on that, you just write down what was the easiest method that you found out to solve a particular question. What was easier, so that when you revise, you'll be able to have it. And like I mentioned, keep taking your mocks as much as possible. And if you could maintain an Excel sheet where you could like note down your mock performance, that will also be very helpful. Like, what were your weakness, what is the mistake that you made, so that the next time you give a mock, you understand like these were the previous mistakes that I made and I won't be making this the next time. So that is what is most important. So like I mentioned, in quantitative aptitude, the most important topics are arithmetic and algebra. So geometry actually is a might be an easy topic for some, but may not be for others. If you're finding it really difficult to comprehend geometry, I would recommend you to keep it to the end or just understand the basics, so that if an easy question from geometry comes, you'll be able to attend it. But if you're really finding geometry difficult, don't spend a lot of time on it, because most of the questions mostly comes from arithmetic and algebra. So focus your energy on understanding your strengths and like learning your strengths most well. Like if you're good at time, speed, ratios, and other things, just practice them really good, but also don't leave out your weaknesses. Spend equal time on your weaknesses so that you can develop them. I think for most people, the most difficult parts in quants will be geometry and permutations and combinations. But some people might really find geometry easy. For those people, just keep practicing geometry and revise all your formulas, because there are a lot of formulas in geometry. For permutations and combinations, it's a very confusing topic. But if you learn the basics, you'll be able to answer easy questions. And for hard level questions, it might consume a lot of time in your actual exam also. So don't bother if you're not able to complete that permutations and combinations difficult topics. Then, like I mentioned in DILR, in DI, different types of be acquainted with a lot of different types of charts. Like there might be line graphs, pie charts, bar graphs, and then cumulative bar graphs, and so much more. So just try to have an idea about all the types of graphs. That is the main thing. And your percentages, like when you're learning ratios, you might be learning all your percentages, like 1 by 7, 1 by 4, which is equal to 25%, like that. Just have it really thorough, because that will be really useful in your quants and data interpretation also. For LR, like I told, if you like played a lot of logic games in your childhood or even now, then LR might be a bit easier for you. But for LR, there will be a lot of clues and points given. So it is important that you understand each point correctly, because even if you understand one point wrong, your whole set might get wrong. And getting a whole set wrong will be like 4 or 5 questions wrong, which will be like, if you got those 4 or 5 questions, you'll be getting 15 marks. But if you're getting them wrong, you are getting -5. So it's very important that you take your time and understand what is written on each logical reasoning question. So pay attention to what you're reading and attempt each question carefully. For VRC, what I would say is regular reading. If you had actually prepared or had a really good reading habit from before, then keep reading your editorials or the books that you keep reading. But if you're just new into this reading habit and you're trying to read a lot, then you might find it very draining. So I would recommend you to give more and more RCs other than diversifying your reading right now, because just you have only 6 months. So at this time, if you haven't read much in the past, just focus on practicing and reading more and more RCs of different kinds rather than reading many things, because uh, most of the times you might be understanding the RC, but the questions might be difficult for you, or you might be finding it difficult to, or you're confusing between the options. For that, you actually need to give a lot of RC questions as mocks or whatever. Just keep practicing your RCs if you just started your VRC preparation right now.